but they don't want to do it because it's not a tax write-off.
I don't know, and it's one of those things that
Morning.
tax law doesn't do.
Good.
Valentine's Day to everybody, especially you, miss.
I don't
Well,
see
thank you,
you on.
Mr. Eddie.
I don't see you on here this morning.
Yeah, I thought we didn't get a break.
So,
Jesus.
I
I
did.
guess we better hear it.
The agenda was full when I got up here. My question is on this thing with Comfort Source. That bid was good till the 1st of January, and he wanted 60% down because it's special ordered equipment going in there. And so the dilemma is, will you cover that 60% up front? And I just talked to him, because there's a possibility, see, those prices were good till the 1st of January, and part of that equipment might have went up in cost.
So he's wanting $11,145 now.
Yeah. Because it's special equipment that he would never use anyplace else.
They didn't use all of their appropriation, and the contract says that anything that was left over can be used for capital or be used for improvements, so.
But like this needs to come out of the general fund.
Right, because that was
Yeah.
transferred to the general fund.
Okay.
So the money's is there, it's just in the
Yeah.
general fund, so.
So what dollars did transfer? You know?
Well, what was that number you were given at the last meeting? 44,000?
$477.33.
44,700, what?
40,477.33.
44,733. So,
This has already been approved.
Yes.
You're just
Yes.
asking approval
Right.
to
To use
pay
it,
the
to
60.
pay this upfront.
So that was rolled into this year, that fund.
well, what's interesting about this is that there isn't like a line item capital improvement type deal, but because of the way in which the contract is written that we discussed at the last meeting, if all of that appropriation is not used, then whatever was left over can be used for improvements. So
Where it
we're,
needs to be rolled into the
Yeah.
capital improvement fund.
what?
Not on that, it rolls in, it just goes into the general
Right,
fund.
it goes into the general
Right.
fund, but we keep a tally of what is left over, and those monies can be used out of the general for the improvement.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
it does. But there would be some other, like the $5,000 deductible on that roof insurance. That would come out of just a regular general, right?
I believe so,
Okay.
because it's one of our buildings and it's building
Yeah.
maintenance.
And I've only got, did that top line or whatever roofing leave you a bid? Okay, he was going to, but. So then these others that were turned in for the December 31st meeting on that drainage and stuff, can I go ahead and have him do that, and then you'll pay as he gets projects done?
I believe that's
So-
what we understood we were gonna move forward with.
Okay.
No,
So
you
you,
didn't approve any of that.
these aren't approved.
Oh,
I don't,
sorry.
It was just this and the
fire
door.
doors.
Right,
Okay.
car doors and
Okay, I thought we addressed that drainage thing, but apparently not.
Well, I think they were just those two things. I wasn't here.
At the last meeting, you talked about it, but you didn't have the bids with him.
Okay,
See, now I'd left you copies of this for that December 31st meeting.
Right, but they didn't approve any of that.
Yeah, I understand. You don't need copies of these, you should have these.
You
on
probably
file.
have Sharissa make another set just in case I
Okay.
misplaced them.
And so, I think the doors are finally ordered.
So
see
you
that
need to
again.
make a motion if you want to do this 60%.
okay, we have a request for some funds to be paid up front from Comfort Source Heating and Cooling, from work to be done up at the Crown County Village. The contractor's wanting 60% of a proposed $18,575 bid for installation. And 60% of that would be $11,145. Do I hear a motion to go ahead and approve this?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
That might be higher.
Yes. A few $100, he thought. I mean, he doesn't know, but, I mean, so we're kind of in a,
We're kind of in a dilemma there, aren't we, in a way?
Should we make that motion up to a certain
Cover
amount?
the 60% of the,
Yeah, you can do it that way. You can make a motion to go ahead and cover 60% of whatever the total estimate's going to be. Even if it does come up, that way you still got your 60%.
well, I would like to do this 60% now so you can order the stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We-
We're going
if
to call it 60% instead of $11,145.
No, I think you have to do the 11,000 because you don't know the exact dollar
Oh.
amount. So you,
See, we're
that's what
having
he's saying is
trouble.
the 60% at this point in time. What he's saying is, to satisfy this requirement of my contract, I will take the $11,000. Just so you know that this may be more.
So he could
It's
add
not
the
gonna
additional
change the
cost onto the
60%.
end.
The final
Yes.
payment might be
Yes.
less.
Right.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
so,
That's what we need to do.
so let's start over again. I'm going to need a motion for the 60% of $18,575 for $11,145 to be paid to Comfort Source so he can buy the appropriate equipment needed.
Motion to approve that.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay.
Okay, and thank
Do
you
I
very
have to
much.
retract my last?
We
we
weren't
didn't
listening.
do it.
Okay.
So I'll have Sharissa make copies
For
of
the lack
this.
of a second.
Please.
So that should get us going again.
Yep, back on the road.
Yes.
Good morning, Dolores. I believe you're next.
I think I'll go ahead and get these started. These are signature cards for the banks. Since I've gotten the employees started this week for getting the banks updated. This is the first one, if you want to just pass it. That's all you need to sign. This one needs to be signed with it. I'm just going to send these folders around. Well, just said she was going to put copies in. Way too many pens. Okay, so there's the first national, there's Bank West. Okay, I'll just let you guys start some of them. So there should be 2 pages for that one. So I think that one's.
So you can decide too, so.
Yeah, you can sign these, I just need him to.
Are you right-eyed, Dominic? Hopefully.
I don't, it's, yeah.
What he gets for making her mad, right?
Either way, I don't want it.
Yeah. There's none.
The signatures are we buying?
You're signing your life away, big boy. If this county goes belly up, you're responsible.
We got a clock and a chalkboard we can sell.
Don't forget the map holder.
You don't have a chalk though.
You sign those.
Let's go this way.
Done.
I think so.
So when these minutes are written up, I need to have copies of them.
You gotta sign those, Terry.
Okay. There's lots of, you got a cunt form in that one.
Yeah, go through every page.
This one.
This is all four banks.
And Willie, on the bank, would you mind returning that when you go back to the first city?
The what?
The bank, the card, would you
Oh,
mind
return
returning?
it? Yeah, sounds good.
We've already made 3 trips to get this signature card here today, so.
I get a mileage check for delivering them.
Sure. Just give it to me.
You can turn it in, Willie, but
I think I'll just pass them.
yeah, well, if it was someplace other than where you live, I might consider it.
They got my name misspelled on one of them. Can I put them all back, I think? Okay, looks like I've got everybody. I'll go back through them again when I get back to the office, and if not, I'll
Okay.
be back in.
Okay,
You want me to stop by for them, or we're gonna go back?
That would be great, because I'm gonna have to have, Sharissa and I have to sign them, and
Okay.
so I'll make sure, go through it, make sure I have what I need. So now I need the commissioners to approve the, now that you've got them all signed, approve the change of removing Shannon from the signature cards and adding Amy Washman from all of the accounts of the county.
okay, so we're looking for a motion to approve the removal of Shannon, and her last name, I'm sorry. Barnes, from the signature cards from the banks, and we're adding Amy Washman.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye.
Okay. So I think we got that done. So I also have been having some issues with my computer the last few months, and it is I think it's getting ready to crash on me, and it's also still on Windows 7. This is the same laptop that I had that crashed the day before Mark passed away about 3 years ago.
So it's been refurbished once.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's time to replace it
let's-
before I lose it.
Let's get rid of it before you lose your information.
And I haven't had a chance to really look hard in it, but I'm guessing anywhere from $900 to $1,200
Okay.
for that
Yeah.
expense. So do I need to come back when I find one?
Yeah,
Okay.
bring us some bids.
Okay.
At least a couple.
Okay.
And
I'll get on, might stick Amy on that one.
yeah,
She seems to be pretty,
all young people are. Didn't you know that?
yes, I know. And then I wanted to update you guys on what is going on with my office, because we have had a lot of major issues with our software in CIC. They CIC finally got the program fixed from all the problems and glitches from updates that they did beginning of the year, before I got the year end finished. And we just finally got the year end finished on last Friday.
Okay.
So
Now, was this a problem just solely in your office, or did CIC have problems?
it's in the
throughout?
budgetary and finance office.
Okay, so it's
part of the
specific to
program.
programs.
Yes. And
But it wasn't just, I mean.
there was some other issues. Apparently, when I was there's a process that I can go through the year end if I'm not finished, to get it to where the payroll and AP can be completed. Well, apparently, there was an issue with the payroll getting their checks to print. So when Scott submitted an issue, they got online and did some processes farther than they should have, because I didn't realize what they had done, and so I kept processing.
The
And
only
that
thing that I had
caused a lot of glitches.
Big hiccup, huh?
Because it didn't know how to handle what it was doing, and so it was just throwing figures everywhere in the program.
But
the
I
only
guess,
thing they did when I had it was I got to a point it wouldn't let me do anything. They got in there, and what they told me is the banks were in there, but the accounts weren't set up. So they set up the accounts, and then I can move forward on.
No, they went farther than that. They went in and they actually completed the banking for the year end, and that should not have been done.
so, having all that said, are the issues corrected now, and
They
we're up
did,
and running?
and then I got started Monday on January 2nd for the 2020, and it wouldn't balance. I got through the whole day, got to the done balancing, and then at the very end, when it was supposed to all balance, it didn't balance, and we couldn't figure out why. So they had to go back and dig some more, and it was all tied to the same issues. And they just resolved that yesterday.
Okay.
So
Are
hopefully
we having
I
pretty good
can
luck
move
with this
on.
company though, overall? I mean,
Well,
they work in
They
satisfactory?
have, and the Register of Deeds have. I'm going to say it's been hit and miss. I don't really trust the program, especially with the finance side. I'm constantly having to check and recheck and double check. I don't just take it for granted.
Well, and I
How
kind
many
of
counties
appreciate
use this
that.
program?
There's been a lot of them sign up here lately, so I'm not sure who, I used to know, but there's been a lot of new ones.
Now, when you have a
But it's
maintenance
the
issue,
only,
Do you know?
it's
so?
the only inner.
I don't know how many counties. I did put out on listserv to my clerks to see if anybody else was having issues, and no other county was having issues with CIC.
Well, that's because, I'm sorry, but when I would log in to get on a desktop with them, they normally have maybe half a page of people who are logged in doing a desktop because they're having issues. And when I would log in these last 2 months, there was 2 pages of you had to hunt for them. And every time I talked with one of the representatives who was helping me, they were complaining of how busy and how swamped and how they were so booked over that they could not get to people who really needed them. I mean, everybody needed it, and so, yeah, there were a lot of other counties who were having
well,
issues.
are they good at resolving issues? I mean, can you call them up and have an issue resolved in a reasonable amount of time?
Well, normally, I mean, this time of year is really hard because this is when they're uploading all of their new upgrades, and I submitted an issue to ask them to please wait until after we're done with taxes, because they start in October and they start downloading it through January, which is a bad time for our office. It's when we're finishing the we're starting a new tax year, we're trying to get year end done, and we're starting a new year, and every year they do their upgrades and they aren't right, and so you've always got issues, and it's
But I think you're gonna have
frustrating.
that-
And I can
know.
tell you, I can have you talk with several representatives who I've talked to, and they totally agree. They says, "Good, we totally agree with you." I mean, it's not a fun time for our office at the end of the year, and seems to get worse. I mean, it's just, and when I talked to the very first issue I submitted, I asked them, I says, what is it in these instructions that I am missing? Because we seem to have an issue every year with this. And she looked at it and she goes, oh yeah, this is one place it tells you one thing and the other place it tells you the exact opposite. So it's very conflicting. She goes, we've got to rewrite these. So that
they're
was
addressing it
part,
at some point.
right. I said, there's got to be something in here because I follow these down the line in your manual to the T. And I says, we have issues every year. What's going on?
I think we all suffer from that.
Yeah.
I know I've struggled.
But yeah,
Well, I guess all we can really say is, please hang on and do the best you can. I appreciate the fact that you're double and triple and check on everything. Make
But
sure
I had one, and I probably shouldn't say this too loud, but I had a tech from CIC when he got done with me, and he heard my whines and complaints, and he put a little text box up there. He wouldn't say it verbally, but he said there are multiple issues with our finance program. And that's from one that doesn't write the programs but fixes them. So, yeah.
So, do you have a recommendation on how to correct this?
Other than asking them to wait until after at least until February. Let us get through the tax year. Let us get through the year end. Let us get through the beginning of the year. Let us get through the distribution in January. and then do your updates. Then we got all year to fix all these problems that they have, that they put the program, these upgrades. What they do is in August every year they have a symposium. So they all meet, all the users meet. So the fund that we're paying in, the fee that we pay in every month, a little bit of that goes into a little pool that goes into a fund that they use to do upgrades into the system that all the counties want. And so in August, we all get together and they discuss all of these enhancements that everybody submits throughout the year and discuss those through and decide which ones are good, which ones we don't really need, which ones should actually be funded through CIC because they should be part of the program anyway. I mean, this is all done in August. And so when they get done with that and all those decisions are made, they start doing all their fixes and their upgrades and enhancements. And then they just, as soon as they get them, they start downloading them. And it's just like they don't get them tested well enough.
Seems like they need to hold off on that meeting till January or February.
Well, they just need to hold off on uploading those.
Did they seem receptive
Until-
to that idea at all?
Well, they don't really respond to that. We won't until December or August when we have our new symposium. I just can submit that issue, that enhancement.
So they
and
won't
hope
address it
gets-
until then?
Hope it gets addressed and accepted. I mean, it's just... But I've talked to 3 of the more senior people who have been there since, I mean, they were there before we even started in 2010, and they totally agree with me.
Well, hopefully they're
So-
working on a fix then, if they're aware of it. And,
Yeah.
yeah, just keep doing the best you
And
can,
as swamped
Dolores.
as they
We'll-
got this year, I mean, I would think that it would be something that they would at least consider, I hope. I just, it's getting to where it wears me down every year. I mean, it just,
Yeah, well, I understand that.
and then we seem to have our own issues on top of it, so it's not fun.
Well, keep after it and do the best you can.
Yeah, I do. I try.
And we appreciate it.
Okay, so anyway, those are our CIC issues. So we finally, I know this auditors sent me a request probably close to a month ago, but I haven't been able to reply because we don't have the right figures, and
Yeah, if you know, yeah,
I'm not pointless of sending reports that aren't going to be correct,
Yeah.
so.
that's for sure.
And then, so I will get on that, and I plan to work, and I know the clerk's office is chomping at the bit to try to get 1099s done, and so I'm going to get caught up as much as I can this weekend. I mean, I can only work as fast as, and I hope to God I don't run into any more issues. Because I'm about reached my point of dealing with issues. Then, let's see, so I did go ahead and was able to work through my distribution and well enough to pay the entities their money when the distribution time came up. But there's one entity that gets a check, and I still can't write that check. But I did contact them. It was Rollins County, and it's a small amount. So there was actually 2. There was 2 who have still received checks. And one of them decided to get it electronically now, so we're just down to the one check. And so she was fine with waiting till I could get that done. She understood. And then the rebate checks is what I really feel bad about, but I can't get those written until they're created in the system. I just can't get them over into the budgetary until I get to that day.
Sounds way too complicated.
So as soon as I can get there, they will get their rebate checks. It's not like I forgot about them or they're not being tended to. It's just my hands have been tied. I couldn't do anything until they got those resolved. And then taxes, we finally got through all of the receipts on those. We're dealing with a few what we call problem children. People who sent in wrong amounts or just things that there was some that needed to be refunded money, but we couldn't write a refund check, so did get those taken care of on the first day that we were able to write checks, and then there's some that we're just waiting on because they underpaid. But other than that, we just have a handful of little ones that we don't have done.
That's good, that's
But-
good.
So.
Better